Hey guys, welcome to Conversations on the Bench. I'm Ryan, Chief Operating Officer at Gospel Rescue Mission. With me I have Alex, who is one of our coffee and cafe attendants. Not attendant. What's
Internship.
internship? Sorry, she is one of our interns through Gospel Rescue Mission in the. It is officially after 2:30 in the morning. I'm just going to put that out there for everybody that's watching, wherever you at in the country. We are at 2:30 in the morning, Tucson, Arizona. Alex is an intern here through Gospel Rescue Mission at the Opportunity Coffee and Cafe. Alex, thanks for being here.
hmm
Tell us a little bit about your experience with homelessness. Kind of a little bit about your story, where you come from, what's led you to this place today. Um, let's jump into it.
All right. Well, I came here. I was homeless 3 months prior before being here, staying in my car. Um, I happened to hear about this place, came in the very next day, and waited outside to get registered to stay here in hopes to find a job.
That was
I
your goal, to come in and get a job?
Yeah, it was to, I guess I had heard about the workforce that they had and that I'd be able to stay and apply for jobs and get training, things like that. And I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you.
Now, you from Tucson?
No.
Where were you at before Tucson?
I was actually born in Salt Lake City,
Okay.
Utah.
How long had you been in Tucson when all this
Mm,
happened?
I moved back up here in about 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So a few years.
yeah.
Um, do you remember how you heard about the workforce development program, or was it just kind of word on the street, or?
I had gone into La Frontera Rap to try and get help with housing, and a woman there had said that she had stayed at the gospel for the recovery. And I told her, I don't need recovery, I just need housing. And then she let me know that you guys offered other programs so
Okay.
that it wasn't just strictly one thing. There were multiple things available at the gospel.
Gotcha.
hmm
How long have you been here now?
Mm, 2 months.
That's it?
Yeah.
You're like a fixture around here. Everybody knows Alex. Alex is officially famous. She'll be signing autographs after this
Not
session.
even.
No. So, talk to us a little bit about the Workforce Development Program. What was that process like for you? How did it lead into the internship?
uh,
Are you like some of the others that have spoken here today and gone through the culinary program, or is that on the horizon for you?
so when I came here, like I said, I was originally just going to do the workforce, and it's kind of like it's timed. You know what I mean? They
Mm,
help build you up, but you can't like stay forever.
sure, sure.
And I had accepted a job in a warehouse, and I would have gotten off at like 3:30 in the morning, and I was 4 days out from switching over into the housing part. Um, I got hit in my car with my kids and totaled my car. I was T-boned. And I came in and I knew that I no longer had a car to be able to get to work. There's no buses. And then through my past life, I have trauma so that I would not be walking down the street
Mm,
from bad past experiences. And I kind of freaked out. I talked to the advocates and I just told them, I'm supposed to leave here in 4 days if I don't secure a job. And since I can't accept this job anymore, I'm going to go ahead and just pack up my things and leave, and make the bed available for
mm.
somebody who needs it. And they told me to hold off. They spoke to some people and they put me in the food service program, which is you basically work in the kitchen in the gospel, but you learn the front end of the house, the back end, and then also prep food. And then by chance, someone had approached me to make a charcuterie platter for meat and cheese and fruit.
Hmm.
And I had a natural talent, which then led me into the coffee internship because
Okay.
now I've decided to change my career based off of what I'm learning here at the gospel.
So, had the culinary world ever been on your radar prior to this?
As a kid, decorating cakes.
Yeah, that's it.
For my mom, cupcakes and sprinkles, but beyond that, no, I've never worked in the food
So
industry.
this is a whole new experience.
It is.
Wow. Okay. So what would you like to come from this?
I want to own a business in
Okay.
food. I would love to do like cater events, doing shakiri, which is the cheese meat platters, and hopefully buying event centers and running it.
Yeah. So how is the social enterprise component of the workforce development part of Gospel Rescue Mission helping you with that?
Social in what way?
Social enterprise being the job training, learning the culinary component, the internship. How is that going to lend itself to you being able to start your own business?
Okay, so not only do I do the internship here, but I also do the culinary program at
Okay.
night through the community college that's offered through the Gospel Rescue.
Okay.
So it went from just learning a little bit about working in the food industry front and back to really specializing in something. Now, doing the internship in the coffee shop is really helping me to build skills to communicate with, guests that come in, how to greet them, how to take care and make sure that you offer the best customer service you can and bring out that personality that you need to communicate with people easily. And then, of course, hands-on in the culinary program through the college that comes here to the mission. They show you the detail it takes into prepping things that are delicious.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of everything. It's kind of a whole rounded program that I'm learning here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now you mentioned your kids. Are your kids here with you?
No,
Okay.
they were here at the beginning, but they're with their dad.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit more about I had a question. I'm sorry, I went blank on it. Let's jump to this question over here. What if you could do one thing right now to change or impact homelessness? What would it be?
Oh, man. Honestly, make more gospel rescue missions.
Elaborate on that
Because-
some more. Yeah.
Okay. So people do offer things. So, like, there was a women's shelter that I kind of went to, and it was like when you go there, you just already anticipate that it's just going to be a quick stop by. Like, they offer you can clean your clothes, or you can grab a meal, or take a shower. It's when you are homeless, a huge thing is safety. Like, I am going to be honest, when I came here and you have to check in, of course you have to give up certain things because it's not like you can bring everything with you. You know what I mean? The hardest things I had to give up was, I hope this isn't inappropriate, but I had to give up 2 knives, my gun, and my brass knuckles. And that freaked me out because those are things that I carried on me always.
Yeah.
So going into different places, safety was a huge thing. So here there is a lot of safety measures, the fences. Definitely when you are homeless, there are people on the streets that aren't savory, and you sometimes develop a lifestyle that isn't the best. So those fences help keep those people away from you.
Yeah.
Because they are denied access, because now we have curfews and things like that. Also, the fact that at the gospel, you're not just staying here and you're not stagnant. There are requirements as part of being here with your community service time, but then it helps you take pride in your living space, because then you're not just being careless of how you treat things. You also hold other people accountable for cleaning up their messes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then because you have to see them every day because it's a smaller community, obviously you're living, next door to people. It teaches you to have respect for others and to also watch yourself and be courteous and graceful.
Yeah.
So,
if you don't mind me asking, what kind of total time, how much time were you on the streets?
I was
Dealing
kicked
with-
out when I was 14, so being homeless is not something that is new.
Yeah.
Okay, so just super quick, like when I was kicked out as a child, I went in my room and I remember I was like packing up my stuff, like my Nintendo, my TV, all that stuff. And she walked in and she told me, she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Getting my things." And she looked at me and she said, "Those aren't your things. Those were a privilege. You didn't purchase them. You take what you can carry on your back." So throughout my life moving forward, I learned that anything you had to work for, period.
Yeah.
So becoming homeless was based off of this time in my life was I specialize in autistic children, and I've been in the medical field for many years. And I happened to get injured at work, and I was hit in the side of the head by a child with a steel Tonka truck, and it caused me to go partially blind in my eye. Because of that, I was out of work for 9 months, and like legally I could not work. Ended up going through savings and lost the house, lost the car, and then that's how I ended up homeless.
Wow.
And then living in a car.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had to find a safe place for my kids
Yeah.
that wasn't with me.
Yeah. So part of your what led you into homelessness was similar to somebody else, was injury, loss of economic stability, missing paychecks, things of that nature. Have you found in your experience that that's a pretty common occurrence for people that are experiencing? Because I think there's some misconceptions about homelessness, but there's also
absolutely.
some kind of leading factors into homelessness. In your experience, would you say that yours, not just your story, but stories that you've heard, kind of revolve around some of the economic struggle?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was married for 13 years, so then obviously handling everything by myself. It's a lot harder now because I think most households need 2 incomes in order to be not in poverty,
Yeah.
to put it bluntly. But if I could change homelessness, it would be to build more facilities like this. There are a lot of intelligent people in there that are here not because of being lazy, but due to just hardships or people passing in their life, something that's caused a huge impact that has just derailed them.
Yeah.
So these are opportunities to get back on track. And I think that more places need to offer rounded programs so that people can build confidence and create something out of themselves again.
You said something key right there, that you mentioned confidence. Do you believe that a program-based community or facility, something like the Center of Opportunity, do you think that makes the difference in terms of building that confidence, being able to put your hands to something? You mentioned community service, giving back, being a part of an intern program, learning the things. Do you think that that's part of what's missing with what other people are struggling with?
Yeah. And another thing is I think that a lot of people in the community don't understand that a lot of things that are donated here are used in such a great way that donations are a huge thing for the facility. And I know that too, just from working in the kitchen, things like that. I mean, I think that having program base is not just a key part, it's a huge part because they don't offer that in other places at all.
What would you say is one of the, as you look back over your time here, what's something that surprised you? Maybe you didn't expect it coming in, but it surprised you in a good way. It was something that, brought hope, or it just surprised you about the experience.
Okay, so I fought with my spiritual side for 5 years. I didn't know where that took place. I think living here every week, there's, I know this sounds crazy. I feel like there was something, like, I don't want to say trying to kill me, but I feel like every week that I was here, there was something that was almost forcing my mind to make me say that this was a good place. Having the chapel available is a huge thing. Having spiritual leaders here is a huge thing. That was part of another big reason why I stayed here, because in my car crash, I noticed that just being here, I found myself praying a lot more. I was raised Catholic, and returning to those things, I think that that's a huge part of being here. Is the spiritual side is actually what kind of got me to stay, even though the car was totaled and that was tragic. I think it honestly was God's way of telling me that I needed to slow down. I don't know. That's a big factor why I stayed here.
Okay.
Is the
Yeah.
religious part that
That's
has
awesome.
come back out
Okay.
of me.
You mentioned safety. You mentioned carrying weapons and having to protect yourself. The fear of being on the street. How important is it for you? And I know your children are here for a little while. How important is it for you to have somewhere like Center of Opportunity, places like that, where a person has the opportunity to just feel safe? I think that safety is something that we kind of take for granted sometimes. People can
No,
go inside
that's
their home, they
huge.
lock the door, but when that's stripped away from you, you don't realize the need to feel safe. We kind of take it for granted. What are your...
No, that's huge. 2 weeks before I came in here, I had stopped at a park and just like went into the ladies' room. And I know that sounds crazy. I guess you don't really realize how big safety is, but I mean, I just remember just being in the ladies' room, and I had crouched down to get into my bag, and I was watching the door because you tend to watch everything around you. And somebody came in from the side and had attempted to attack me while I was in the bathroom. And I got away from that scenario, but to not... to not feel like you can function without looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
It's very distracting. It debilitates you. To be able to put your guard down is rare.
Yeah.
When you're used to constantly having a heightened sense around you.
Yeah. How long did it take you to start to feel safe?
It took about a week. It's different because you always question what people's motives are.
Yeah.
When you're in the street, it's definitely, people find weaknesses and can quickly pick up on where they can take advantage of you. It's hard to be soft and gentle and
Yeah.
kind when you're always questioning what somebody wants out of you. So being here, I've had my issues, I've had it tough, whatever, but I always think that somebody's had it worse than me. So when you said I kind of talk to everybody, I do.
Yeah.
Because you can tell when people come in new, they have a look about them. And I know I had it too because I see it on my ID picture. um, it makes me laugh because I know when I came in here, I mentally was not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you see in them, is it fear? Is it trepidation? Is it a defense a wall that they're
Oh,
putting up?
yeah.
Because I think the
The
other
not
side is
knowing.
some people would assume, well, you're here now, you're safe, you got their staff, but I think even not trusting staff is a factor,
Yeah.
at least in the early stages.
Yeah.
You,
I think, okay, so in other facilities, it's almost like people are, this is my job, this is why I'm here, I'm clocking in, I'm clocking out. Here, it's not like that. Here, the staff will actually tell you their experiences. They've had hard lives themselves. They're not, everybody has a story, and they're not afraid to say, hey, look, it's okay to take a breath because I've been where you've been. Or, they just in general, they're open to sharing their stories. I've had staff just say, hey, look, come here, and just grabbed you and gave you a hug
yeah.
because you just needed a hug. They're honest. They will tell you flat out, hey, you're acting crazy. You need to take 2 breaths. And they're not afraid to just kind of say, kind of tuck you to the side and be like, okay, sit down, take a breather. Okay, now you're good. You have it together. Here's some food. Here's something. What is it that you need right now? They're not afraid to ask you. And I've had staff that's gone above and beyond. Maybe their role is this in the facility, but they will go out of their way and just say, hey, look, let me help you with ABC. This isn't normally what I do. Or they'll say, here's somebody you can talk to that can get you what you need. So I've had good experiences with the staff here. I've had good experience with people here. I've even sat down and talked to people that have come in on edge and just said, hey, I've been here for a while. This is who you can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good facility.
If there's something you could tell somebody that's considering getting out the street, getting off of drugs, coming into a place, whatever that is, if there's a message that you could give to that person, if they were listening right now, that would help them take that step, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I have talked to people here that have started the recovery program, that are midway recovery program, that have graduated from the recovery program. Just the challenges with going through the classes that they've had to face, the facts that they've wanted to give up at times, the fact that they have given up and returned while I've been here because they knew that the program was worth it. People who've done the workforce, I've seen them literally be desperate looking for a job, be able to work with advocates, get resumes built out, plot their history. Coming in here, you are required to get your social security cards, birth certificates, things get lost. I mean, this is the place to be because you literally, from the first week you walk in, start rebuilding pieces that you lost, left behind. Yeah, I've seen people mend relationships with family members that they thought they never have. I've seen people get help here in being able to see their kids again. Also, what's crazy is you can bring your kids here and they're safe. There's the playground here for them. You guys have made room. You guys made room for my kids. Yeah, I would encourage anybody to come here, honestly.
Alex, thank you.
No
Appreciate your
worries.
time. Thank you for sharing some of your story with us. And we're excited to see the direction that you're going, and what you start to put back into the community once you complete all this program. So keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a vital part of this community. I know that people are super grateful to have you here. So thank you.
It's exciting.
All right. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Bye, Ryan.
All right. Have a good night.
See you later.
Well, hello, Tucson. We are back live on the bench. Conversation on the bench, that is. And happy to be back. We have some fabulous guests with us right now. And thank you, everybody, for being patient. We kind of had to transition into the night mode with the lights. So right now I have with me on the bench, we have Brandy Champion and we have Justin Hamilton, both with the city of Tucson. And welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bruce.
for being here today. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Bruce.
So, Brandy, introduce yourself and your role there with the city of Tucson.
So my name is Brandy Champion, and I am the Community Safety, Health, and Wellness Program Director at the City of Tucson.
Awesome.
That encompasses a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Care coordination. Our Housing First program lives under Community Safety, Health, and Wellness. Opioid initiatives. Encampment initiatives with our Mark here. Justin will tell you more about that. Just a lot of collaboration and coordination. Our Office of Violence Prevention and Intervention are in that umbrella. So a lot of different things, working on gun violence in the community and stuff like that. So
Now, you just packed a lot in there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
yeah.
Justin,
Bruce,
what's your role there at the city of Tucson?
Bruce, I'm the multi-agency resource coordinator for the city manager's office.
Okay.
In a nutshell, I coordinate encampment response and resolution and outreach throughout the city to all the large encampments and everywhere along the loop.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So, Brandy, let's come back. Let's break down some of those areas that you spoke of, and let's talk about what's going on there at the city of Tucson and some of the things that you're having to manage there in some of those departments.
Okay. So Housing First started back in October of 2021.
Okay.
And at that time, I was the Housing First director, and we built that out. We started with 5 people. Today, there's about 45 people in that program alone.
Okay.
Right? And within that are many sub-programs. So we have outreach, we have housing navigation, where people are assisted in getting their birth certificates, IDs, Social Security cards, all of that type of stuff to get them housed.
Yeah.
We do have some permanent supportive housing beds, about 300 of those. And various people live in those units, and case managers go out to those units and visit people in their homes, providing hands-on case management to those folks. As Justin said, we have some outreach folks that are seated in housing and community development, because we partner with them a lot, right? That's one of our bigger departments at the City of Tucson. And we just coordinate and collaborate. And then we have our care coordinators that are on our community safety, health, and wellness side, and they are mostly dealing with the 311 line, providing resources for people, doing some eviction prevention work.
Explain the 311 line.
311.
I'm not sure I've heard that. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so 311 is a resource line that's run out of the 911 call center. So our public safety division, the 311 line was created to put the right work in the right hands, right?
Okay.
So that the police aren't responding to something that a social worker can respond to. You see, so
Gotcha.
maybe they need shelter, a person needs shelter, or they need to see a mental health provider, or maybe they're even in crisis where they might need the MIST unit, which is the mental health support team through TPD. But having a person that can recognize that and then get MIST involved instead of having a police response with officers that aren't necessarily seated in mental health care is helpful, right? So we do field a lot of calls that come in through 311 on our Housing First side and our community safety side. So giving people the resources that they need. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what our care coordinators mostly do, and they've even gone and sat in the 911 call center and helped operators field calls.
You talk about that. It seems like you could literally be caught up into that 16 hours a day and probably never catch up.
Yeah.
That's got to be overwhelming.
It is. And so we just recently created a position that is just a person that just does resource coordination. She's a
Okay.
project coordinator, and that's all that she does on the Housing First side.
Okay.
And then we have another young lady on the community safety side that is also like kind of overseeing some things in that manner. We have a staff assistant that delegates those calls to our care coordinator. So it's really organized, even though it seems like it would be chaotic.
Yeah.
It's a real organized operation. So.
Yeah.
With that, we also have our Office of Violence Prevention and Intervention, which is very new.
Yeah.
And that is working on our VIVA sites, which are the Violence Intervention and Vitalization Action Program. So that's something that's been going on for a while. It used to be PNI work, so it was place network investigation, where high gun violence or high violent crimes were happening in some of our apartment
Sure.
communities. So they've rebranded that to Viva now. We have community enrichment coordinators that go out and create these events in the communities and educating the community members, making sure that people understand gun violence and that understand that they can report that,
Right.
and empower them in their own community,
Yeah.
right? And other things, right? They're not just dealing with that. They're dealing with tenants that are afraid to speak up, maybe because they're in poverty. That's
Yeah.
the only place that they have to live. They
Sure.
don't want to talk about mold. They don't want to talk about poor landlord practices and things
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
our community enrichment coordinators go in and educate people on this and empower that community.
Yeah.
So that's a new office that we've created. And then we have our opioid mark that's really, that person resides on the county side,
Yeah.
but is working with the city of Tucson as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like Justin's role, where he is in the city of Tucson but works very closely with Pima County.
Sure.
So these collaborations are just super important, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
were talking about before we went live again about, what we do, because we're in the people business,
Yes,
right? Even though you're
absolutely.
working for the city, you're in the people business. We're in the people business here at Gospel Rescue Mission Center of Opportunity. We talked about the emotion and how do you decompress. It's when you're involved in, it's probably hard. You take that home sometimes, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
And it's hard to. You can't just take that hat off and leave it on your desk and walk out,
No,
right?
no.
It's
I
in your
think-
heart. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I think that's why it's important. We also have a lot of training that comes in. We just had a vicarious trauma training yesterday, as a matter of fact. Our chief equity officer at the city of Tucson comes in and provides those trainings to our crew, and our outreach worker comes in. It's also open to other folks
Yeah.
that want to come in and get that,
Sure.
because of course that's vicarious trauma. You're holding that
Yeah.
for that person. Oh my God, I didn't house that person today. They're going to spend another night on the street. And those, especially
Yeah.
new outreach workers or navigators, take that on
Yeah.
for themselves,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So it's important that we get that in there, that staff support in there, and use EAP and these various types of training.
Justin, take us inside your world and break that down. What's happening in your world
Sure, Bruce.
during the day?
Well, to be clear, this job was a calling. When I got the job with the city, this was of no intention of mine to
We
even
talked
be
about
working.
our calling, right?
We did.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's what makes it different, to be blessed every day to come to work, to do this kind of work. So as Brandy was saying, years ago, we came up with the Housing First program, and there was just 4 of us in the very beginning. I was one of them. We have migrated towards, I think we have 45 employees now.
Wow.
And it's been a journey for me. I started off in shelter work, getting to know folks where they're at and how they live. And then I got promoted to being an outreach worker and went out into the street. Got promoted to being an outreach supervisor, and now the multi-agency resource coordinator. But along the way, I would not even be here, Bruce, without the amazing team behind me. Brandy and my whole Housing First team, they make me look good. They make us all look good. I
Yeah.
mean, we work as one cohesive unit. So
what
mean,
I thank you for that. I remember it was a few weeks ago when I had 7 of your team.
Yes.
There might have been a crossover team there, but you guys came out. We did a tour. We sat down, had lunch, had good conversation for 2.5, 3 hours, and how could we collaborate and
Absolutely.
work together to work on these crises that we're facing, right?
Yes.
Because
Correct.
our from a faith-based standpoint, we're here to try to be a solution and for a total transformation type
Yes.
place, to take people from homeless to wholeness, right?
Yes.
Correct.
And they got to want it though,
Yes,
right? They can't.
do.
drug addiction is one thing and mental illness is one thing, but we can be here. We got beds. We're about, we're program based, right?
Yeah.
So that's that catch-22 we face. They got to want to be here. They got to want the help. They got to want to go through the services. And sometimes one time's not enough. We've got people that have gone through a program 2 times, 3 times, 4 times.
Absolutely.
But we always let them know that our doors are always open.
And Bruce, I'm actually proof of that. I relapsed 100 times until I got it right. And if people would have gave up on me, I wouldn't be here today without the support group and the family.
Thank you for sharing
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in active addiction over 20 years ago in the city of Phoenix. I used to come down here and actually get arrested and get in trouble down here, been to the juvenile detention center. So for me, it really resonates when I see our clients out there. I can definitely relate, and I think it helps with our line of work. We have 4 encampment assessors. They're in all the city divisions with TPD. So we're out there meeting with people where the wheels hit the pavement. We're meeting them right out there where they're at, in the tunnels, in the washes. And then with our amazing team that we have behind us, I mean, like I said, without all the resources, I'm just one guy out there just trying to help people.
Yeah.
You mentioned washes, and I see, when I go to council meetings or almost anywhere we go, washes always comes up in conversation. Either it's a neighborhood, what are we going to do about this wash by my house? What are we doing about it? Gospel Rescue Mission, why don't you come down here? City of Tucson, they look at us like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's not an easy
It's
not an easy fix, right?
People find safety in the washes. I mean, the temperature is 10 degrees cooler in the washes. They're escaping the sunlight in the tunnels. Yeah. I mean, there is reasoning behind it. There is psychology behind it. Yeah, it's just survival.
Even in the winter, they're in there, in an enclosed place, and they can start a fire, you know what I mean, down there
concrete walls
safely.
heat up, it heats the whole thing.
Yeah. And they're keeping warm in the winter.
And we hate it, and I don't want to look at that as compassion, but, and that's why we're trying to expand our flies going all over the place around here. But that's why we're trying to expand our footprint so that we can provide more housing.
Absolutely.
We're at capacity. We've got like 370 guests.
Yes.
About 360, I think we're at right now. We got 376. But, you keep in contact with our folks here. I think you do, Brandy. But, but we need more housing.
Absolutely.
And then we can help more people, and we can provide more resources, right? Everybody here is not here for addiction recovery. They're here for job training with our relationship with Pima College. They're here for, our housing program. Either they're receiving, their Social Security or retirement or pension, but they lost their place to live, got priced out of it, and going to kind of transition into that. But, affordable housing, I mean, what do we do? How are we dealing with the affordable housing crisis? Because at the end of the day, we're way short on housing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we're seeing more people just genuinely displaced.
Yeah.
A lot of seniors right now we're seeing displaced with rent increases when they're on fixed incomes.
Yeah.
I'm finding a lot of moms in cars with
Families,
kids doing homework in parks because they can't afford to pay their rent.
Or they're getting near a library because they don't have Wi-Fi, or we're seeing a lot of that, and it's concerning. I think people don't realize that homelessness is a paycheck away for some folks. One incident.
The large majority of the population is 1 or 2 paychecks away from facing that crisis, right?
Exactly.
It's scary.
Exactly.
And I don't know, I went to bed one night and I woke up and all of a sudden, oh my Lord, what happened in this country?
Yeah.
Where everything just went through the roof.
It went from the 80s till now, man. Just like, what happened?
Yeah.
We had the pandemic, and that led to this, and led to that, and here we are.
Yeah.
We're just all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how can we, collaborative partnerships. That's what we do here at Gospel Rescue Mission, is all about collaborative partnerships.
Yes.
We got 53 collaborative partnerships right now, and we do what we do well.
Yeah.
But what we don't, we bring in El Rio, right? We've got Catholic Community Services to bring in physical healing to people that are struggling with that because they're in the hospital and then they're going to be thrown back out on the street. And that's what Catholic Community Services is for, right?
Well, with our lack of resources in today's, economy and everything that we have going on in the administration, if we don't all work together, we're never getting through this. If we don't all collaborate and come together like we have on many ops before, Bruce, we're not getting through this. We can't stay siloed any longer and try to think we can just do our job separately like that. It can't happen.
We got to come together, and there's so much we can agree on. We can look at, you can look at all the things that are going on in the world. We can find a lot to disagree about.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can find a lot that we do agree on.
Yes.
And those are the things we come together, right? And work together, and
the collaborations are critical, Bruce. So I love what you guys are doing here because it's multidisciplinary, right? So, and that's what we need. People have multifaceted issues. So we have to have multifaceted approaches. So our multidisciplinary team that often works with Justin has a nurse practitioner right there on site in the homeless encampment that can administer wound care, prescription stuff. Has a connection immediately through El Rio. It's an El Rio nurse practitioner.
Great.
Has a direct connection to a behavioral health nurse practitioner, so they can do an assessment. So it's just a good partnership to collaborate. You guys have something different than this shelter does, than that shelter. So everything works together. Even when we're doing an encampment decommissioning, it works out. We call y'all, and you have beds, and you're willing to have people come in.
We will do everything we can. Even if it's temporary, we got things we can roll out on the floor.
Absolutely.
Not just the 306. If it's a night, it's a night, right?
Yeah.
I'll be happy to sleep on something I can roll out versus being under this.
And it's
right?
one more connection to services.
It's safety.
Right? It's safety, and it's one more connection to services because somebody is talking to that person.
Another reason I'm glad you guys came a few weeks ago, we were able to answer some questions because there's always myths out there because of our name.
Yeah.
And, it's been that way for 72 years, and why change it now, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But, at the end of the day, it's just about meeting people where they're at.
Exactly.
We don't care who you are or where you came from or what you refer to yourself as or what your nationality or what your faith is. It doesn't matter. We're going to welcome you in here, and we're going to hug you when you leave.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotta have some skin in the
so, we're not here to throw religion on anybody. We're not here to brand anybody. That's not who we are. We don't do that. We just want to get people healthy again, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. There's all kinds of great services here in this town, but we want our beds to be full. We don't want empty beds, right? We'll hire staff, to meet the needs that we have to take care of the people that are on our property.
Yep.
So,
it's true. Yeah, this is your programs here. There was a lot of myths out there, right? When we came for our visit.
Yeah.
And you guys answered a lot of questions that will help Justin and his team go out in the community and really talk people in. This is a new beginning for some people, right? And everybody needs something different, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody has the same approach.
I think this is where we need to be. Housing First is a great model. It works for some people.
It works for some people, correct.
But not all.
Other people, the multidisciplinary approach that you guys take, I think it draws the line in the sand between whether do you want help or do you not. Yeah. Because I can't afford to be spinning my wheels. And I feel that. Because even as an outreach worker, it gets frustrating and it gets trying on you after a while.
We can all agree, Housing First, I look at that initiative and it's okay. Who, you got a family, right? And they lost their place to live. We got to get them back in.
Exactly.
They're not necessarily, there's no drug addiction there, right? Yeah. They lost their job. They lost their home. Now they're on the streets. Yeah. Right? Okay. That's Housing First.
They need to get housed.
But see, to me, that profile fits your profile better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and we have that
collaboration that I think needs to go on between the city and us, where we're looking at some of our caseworkers on some of our clients and saying, hey, we have somebody in low barrier shelter. They're clean and sober and they don't have any pets. Yeah. Why are they here?
Yeah.
Why are they not here in your facility?
Yeah.
And I just, I want our listeners out there to know that, we're going to keep these lines of communication open.
Yes.
And, I'd like to see us get together on a regular basis.
Exactly.
At least maybe once a month. And, hey, we've kind of changed things up here. Here's what we're doing now, right? And we're trying to be more prepared for this. And what do you guys have going on? Tell me a need. Or is there something we can do to,
exactly.
How we can? Sometimes you got to shift.
Right.
Yeah.
And Housing First isn't housing only. It comes with a lot of nationally. It's administered sometimes. I don't want to say incorrect, but maybe a little bit too leniently. You
Yeah.
know, and people have to have skin in the game
Yeah.
to get to a place. We can't
Yeah.
be in our addiction and expect to keep an apartment.
Yeah.
We have to get to a place where we're being a good neighbor, a good tenant, and practicing societal norms.
Well,
Yeah.
we get into
We
a habit
do.
of,
Yeah.
forcing people into situations they're not ready for.
Exactly.
And guess where they're back? They'll be right back out in that same
Yeah.
wash in that same alley before you can
Exactly.
even blink your eye.
We know that the buses are free throughout Tucson, or at least they are as of right now. And we have a bus stop right in front of, what used to be the old hotel that everybody
Yep.
knows.
Mm-hmm.
And they like clockwork. They knew when we had meals at the Welcome Center to pass out,
Mm-hmm.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We started that because of COVID, and we stopped doing it because, not that we don't want to feed people, we want them to come in and sit down and have a meal with us.
Right.
We want them to see who we are and what we do.
Yes.
We're not going to turn them away. So we have different colored lanyard for that. They can come in and enjoy a meal, enjoy the nice, cool environment, and have a nice meal and hang out and relax a little bit. We have Operation Rescue, where anybody can come in, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that program is well designed to get people in here to test the water.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's
Operation
awesome, Bruce.
Rescue,
Very
there's
well
many
designed.
facets to that, but
Yeah.
Operation Rescue, they can come in. It's year round. It's 365. They can come in from 10 to 6. If they're not in one of our programs, we have beds set aside. They can relax. We can give them fresh clothing. They can take a shower. They can enjoy lunch and dinner with us. And we've had over 300 actually walk through the doors since we've been doing that this summer.
Yeah.
And 75% of them had said,
Yeah.
I need one of these
That
programs.
was incredible. Yeah.
And
Lisa was telling
it's
me about
just,
that.
it's amazing.
See, I
So
think that's great. I mean, it's like harm
that's why we
reduction
want to
10
get them
times.
inside.
Yeah.
Come in and just have lunch
Yeah.
with us, have dinner with us, right?
Yeah.
And then see who we are, so you can get the preconceived things out of your head.
Yeah.
That we have 4 values that we live by here: love, grace, dignity, and respect.
So good.
And that's how we're going to treat everybody that works through those doors.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to receive any type of faith. That's your, whether you come with it or come without it and leave without it, that's okay. We're going to love you in. We're going to love you out,
Yeah.
right? And that's what's important. So,
Absolutely.
we appreciate this. I appreciate this relationship that I think's being fostered.
Absolutely.
I think we've got so much more we can do together. I'm really excited about that.
Me too.
Me too. Bruce.
And
too.
some more lunches to be had.
Yeah.
We can get creative.
Yeah.
I know you guys have got some probably creative things on your mind that we
Yeah.
can chat about. We've got
Absolutely.
some things. We're going to go downtown and open up a place in downtown to bring people off the street as well, and then
Yeah.
bring them here and introduce them to this world if they want that. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you each a question.
Is it a
All right.
tough one?
So I'm going to ask you a question, and you can give me your answer. Brandy, we'll start with you. So, Brandy, if I could ask you one thing that would make an immediate impact on the state of homelessness here, what would that be?
I think for our community to come together and collaborate on this, something like this, right? That's community-driven, going out in the community, outreaching people, understanding homelessness, because it's not just what we see on the street. It's many different things that are wrapped into
Yeah.
it, right? So I think that collaboration is definitely key. It's something that the city is big on. I think you guys are, because together that's the only way we're going to solve it. Is all of us
Absolutely.
working together, and I
Love
think-
it.
love it,
Love it. Collaboration.
That's it.
So, Justin, if I could ask you one thing to make an immediate, if you could do one thing that would make an immediate impact on the state of homelessness here, what would it be?
I would like to see something. I would like to see the disease treated. I would like to see the drug addiction treated. For me, without treating the addiction, I mean, I don't believe anything else is possible. Now, some people or homeless for other reasons, but for the majority of our folks out there, I believe that homelessness is actually a symptom of the drug addiction. So until we tackle that with some sort of mandated treatment, even to get folks to get sober for a couple days,
Yeah.
like you were even saying,
Yeah.
5 days, just,
Sure.
I mean,
That's a
how
good
are you
one,
going to even
Justin.
know what sober's like if you're not even trying it out? Because I remember what it was like for me, Bruce, and it was I'd come in one time, only stay in for detox for a couple days and then leave. The next time I come in and stay a couple weeks. But it has
Yeah.
to be a process. But
Sure.
without us having any type of mechanism to force people, to change their ways, I don't think we're ever going to be able to get up and out of this.
Absolutely.
And it takes the stick and the carrot, right, Bruce?
Sure.
You've got to have both.
Yeah.
You can't just give everybody everything and let them be. You have,
Right.
as I keep saying, they have to have some. We know, because we're both lived experience.
Yeah.
67% of our staff has lived experience, and you've got to do the work
Yep.
to get to the next level.
Got to
in
put
life.
in the work. We can give you all the tools,
Absolutely.
but you
Exactly.
got to put in the work, right? If it's going to work, if it's going to stick, if it's going to make a difference.
You have to.
And we need each other. We need law enforcement to
Yeah.
help us do our job,
Yeah.
and they need us. Right?
Exactly. We're in a messy business,
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with folks that are in addiction and mental illness, it's a tough, messy business. We got to roll up our sleeves, get our hands dirty, and that's okay. We've all signed up for this, and we're here for it. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Brandy, Justin,
Bruce.
thank you for being here,
Thank
representing the city of Tucson in your respective roles. We appreciate you, and I look forward to having more conversation with you in the future.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. We have more conversations coming up on the bench right here. We're going to take a little break, but stay tuned. We'll be running some commercials, and we'll be right back for more conversations on the bench. Thank you.
Hey, this is Wes Shepard. Welcome back to Conversations on a Bench. I'm here with some really amazing folks that I've known for a few years, Brett and Susan Sayers. I have the ability, I get the opportunity to interview you guys. I just get overwhelmed sometimes when I talk about our volunteers at Gospel Rescue Mission. And so, Brett and Susan, you've been volunteers at the mission since.
Well, we've been serving in one capacity or another with the Gospel Rescue Mission, either as donors or volunteers, for about 10 years now.
10 years, yeah. So I met you, I think, Brett, in 2018 when we were doing our project here. We were remodeling the Center of Opportunity, and we were working on the casitas, and you guys came and helped us with the casita. And so you want to talk a little bit about that experience and what that was like? And
Yeah, sure. We before the casitas, we were donors, and we would give to the Gospel Rescue Mission. But the purchase of this facility, which was just outstanding for the local community, was what kind of set us apart from just being donors and becoming volunteers. And when you opened up the opportunity to donate for the renovation of a casita, and then if you wanted to, you could participate in the actual demo and resto, we jumped over that as well, and that's what really got us started at the Gospel Rescue Mission.
so you had no idea what you were signing on for.
Well,
Did
that's true, because when we showed up and we saw the condition after, I don't know how long the place had been closed.
Yes,
I know it had been a long time.
Yeah.
And we had actually come to the Holodome,
Yeah.
for several
was
meals,
operating.
and
Yeah,
so
I mean,
we were familiar with the facility.
Yeah.
But to step into one of the casitas that had been shut down for 20 years or so,
Yeah.
and it looked like a lot of work, and it was just the two of us, at that point. And then you kind of walked into the building, and that's where I met Wes, and always look up at Wes. And I think one of my main concerns was, I know I paid for the opportunity to fix it, but is it just me? And just as soon as I said that, about 5 or 6 guys walked
Yeah.
in that were guests of the Gospel Rescue Mission,
Yeah.
and started helping, and it was just a great experience.
Yeah.
We also met a real nice couple that was spending their first winter here, working in the casita next door, and they were huge help in laying the floor.
Yeah.
In helping lay the flooring.
So I wish they were, I call them the Iowanians. They're from
Yeah.
Iowa, and they come every year. they come and park their RV here and help us every winter, and they've come back every winter since that. And so they've built friendships, and it's an awesome thing about working here and serving with people that are here for the right reasons, that are here to actually serve the folks that we serve, and that really do care about helping people and helping that recovery or restoration happen in people's lives, and recognizing the impact that can have, and so you guys are a great example of what a volunteer is, and I have the pleasure to work with a lot of volunteers, but you guys have just come and are just so faithful, and one of the things that we really have a need for here is when we serve meals. We have to serve meals every day, 3 times a day, 365 days a year. We never take a break from that, and when you're doing 1,000 meals a day, you need people that you can depend on. There's no way that we can do the work that we do and do it with the quality that we do. You guys have seen kind of the standard of excellence that we hold our staff to, and that we hold our volunteers to, and our for any folks that come here to serve our guests, because they're guests. And
with the casitas being done, and then waiting to everything else being finished and complete and opening, we were looking for other places to volunteer. It's like, well, this was fun. This was something we could do. The timing was a real blessing because Brett had just retired, and so when the work was done on the casita, it was like, let's get more involved and let's see if there's something else that we can do. And so now for these 7 years now, we've been part of a group that we've made friendships with, a great couple that we're dear friends with. We met through working and volunteering on Thursday nights serving dinner, and I did that tonight, and there were 264 meals served tonight in the kitchen. So
yeah, and it's so important, right, that we have volunteers that we can depend on, and so it's great when we have those groups and church groups or folks that just make friendships, like you guys have done with Lisa, and shout out to them.
Yes.
I wish they could have made it tonight, but it's just it's fun to watch that happen. And Brett, talk a little bit about kind of your relationships with some of the folks that have come through here. I know specifically a gentleman that's come through our program that has been out. He graduated a few years ago, and he's in California now. Yeah. And I know you had a relationship with him. So talk a little bit about that. Yeah, without naming him.
I'll tell you a little bit about Tom, not his real name.
Tom, yes. Yeah, we'll call him Tom.
Okay, we'll call him Tom.
Yeah.
And I was elbow deep in scraping dishes, in the kitchen, and another gentleman that I had befriended, basically through services, in the kitchen. He kind of came back through the hallway. And he just always had this great greeting. It was a, "Hey, Brett."
It's a big guy,
and
too.
He's a big guy. Not as big as you, but he was a big guy. And I'm scraping, and then I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He says, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a spiritual mentor to somebody?" And he kind of caught me off guard, needless to say. And so I said, "Well, yeah, I can be one." He says, "Well, come with me." He says, "Come with me." And so I said, "Okay, well, let me clean up first, And I went out and I met Tom, and Tom had been a 2-time dropout, of the program, and I just had like a few minutes to be able to talk to him in the evening, that evening, and he said that he just really needed someone to help him with his spiritual growth, with regards to who Christ is, what he's all about, and how he can have an impact on my life. And I said right there, I'd be glad to, but I can't do it right now. So
I have dishes to wash.
Yeah.
And Wes is watching.
Yeah. Unless someone's not watching me, then we can go disappear. But so the situation became a really great friendship over about 18 months. I was his spiritual mentor for 18 months. We started off with the book of James, which is, if you're a new Christian, the book of James is a really good place to start with regards to
How to live the Christian life.
How to live the Christian life. And we spent the next 18 months, on that. And what was so interesting about that experience was I would give him the verses and kind of my definition, of what they meant. And then we would discuss it, the next week. We'd spend 30 minutes before dinner hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so from that point on, then we would talk, the next week we'd talk about the notes I gave him the week previous. And what was so neat about it was the Holy Spirit's guidance in all of it, because what I would say, someone had already reinforced, with regards to the spiritual training that was going on through the week.
So, it's funny that you mentioned that, So, I've worked at the mission for 20 years, and one of my previous jobs was I was a discipleship instructor. I was a counselor. And so the guys would always come and they'd be looking at me sideways and they go, "Hey, how do you guys do what you do?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" And they were like, "So, one guy would come in the morning and preach about something, and then you come in at 10 o'clock and you teach about it, and then a pastor from outside would come in and talk about the same thing. And how do you guys coordinate all that?" Because they thought like we were doing that. You know what I mean? And so it's so incredible. That's one of those things that we, that faith element, I know it's obviously important to you guys, that faith element of what we do here, but it's so important to build that self-esteem and that trust and faith in something, other than just our own best effort, right? Because best effort, is kind of what the things that got me here, that got me to that place, And so, 20 plus years in recovery, my best thinking gets me in trouble. I've learned to surrender to whatever that thing is, and that guides me, and you and I know it as the Holy Spirit. And so, and a lot of our folks come in and maybe they don't have that relationship, but they start to see those patterns and those things happening right as they're going through that process, because it's a process here. I remember, you and I were sharing before, it was 5 times I attempted recovery over a many year period, recognizing that, that it's not the addiction. The addiction was not the thing that was holding me back, right? You know what I mean? Because many times I got sober, but things didn't really change. That being able to trust in something other than myself, and most of the time that happened when I ran out of my best ideas, and my best efforts, and that's the moment where God can step in, right, and really change it. And sometimes it's just a word from a friend, a mentor, a spiritual mentor. We call that. I know the first time someone asked me, "Hey, can you be my spiritual mentor?" I was like, I don't even know what that is, but sure, if that's what are you ready for that? And so, man, we so appreciate our volunteers here at the mission. It's a pleasure getting to know you guys.
We're thankful to do it.
Yeah, I know that, and it's obvious. It's obvious. Whenever I see you guys, and it's like my heart leaps every time I see you. It's just one of those things, and I don't think that'll ever change. And I know that you guys come for the right reasons. You're there, to serve the folks. It's not about you. And so that's incredible, man. It's incredible. We need, if we could clone you, we'd clone you. Trust me.
Well, we appreciate that. That's quite a compliment.
Thank you, Wes.
And so
just want to be the hands and feet of Jesus. I mean, we want to serve the Lord, and the fact that we can also serve the community and serve these people here. I mean, it's the interaction's not very long. It's just a smile and give them the meal and hope you enjoy it, and then saying goodbye and have a good night, and
So you talked about Tom a little bit, and Tom's doing well, by the way. I don't know if you still keep in touch with him, but I talk to Tom often.
We do.
Actually, we've given Tom a little bit of leeway to get going with his job, and he's been in a job now for a while out there, and he's doing great. But I get most of my information on Tom from Ernie.
In the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
So she always says, Tom called me today. I said, well, why is he not calling me? And but anyway, she says, Tom says hello. So
So
he's
I'm
doing great.
Facebook friends with him, and,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
good.
you know, he's doing great, and he's with his family in California, and so it's so cool when people move on. You know, they might not be in your immediate orbit, but you know, you still get to see,
Keep up with
those,
them.
yeah, and it's just incredible. And so that's the last thing I want to talk to you guys about, because obviously you guys make a difference in our guests' lives when you come here, and you know, I mean, and you're just here to serve, and you come with that attitude of just servant's heart. But what about the impact on your life that it's made? You know, talk a little bit about that, because those are, and I know that's a little more private conversation or a little more personal, but talk about your impact, because most of the volunteers that I talk to, they're like, man, we can never give what we get, you know, kind of thing. And so, and we know that's
Yeah,
a
so
principle.
you know, it's nice to see, you know, people that are basically down to their last chance, right? You know, from a standpoint of you know, oh, I'm going to a new place. You know, I've timed out of the previous place. Now I'm going to a new place, and you get to see the people, at least from our standpoint of serving, providing a basic function. You know, it's providing a meal, and I think that you know, we volunteer because in that capacity, you see people. You know, like we've been working in the kitchen now for, you know, a good 6+ years, and so you see people come, you see people mature, you see people stick with the program, you see people finish the program and graduate, and then you see people get hired here because of what? Because they've humbled themselves. You know, they've humbled themselves before a holy God. And in a lot of cases, they've decided to follow Jesus. And they've shown such a turnaround in their lives, regardless of what was, you know, haunting them when they came. The Gospel Rescue Mission sees them as a great example of the fruit that they can produce. And so the benefit to me is the fact that we're helping people right at their basic need. And then we get to see, and then we get to see them mature by all the other things that happen here that we don't necessarily get to see. And then we hear through talking with them, you know, at the mealtime or what, their progress. And then eventually we see them walking around here in a shirt like you're wearing. And I said, how could it be any better?
Contrary to popular belief, we don't hire all of our graduates.
No.
But
Yeah, I know. But you know, it's just a bearing of how Gospel Rescue Mission takes us serious, right? And other people offer a handout. I really honestly believe Gospel Rescue Mission offers a hand up. And so that's very important from a standpoint of just not another fish, but teaching a person how to fish. And that's what you guys do in a very good way.
There's a young man that came through here. I'm not going to say his name either, but he was graduating, and I asked him when he was graduating from. He now had a job, is in job training, and he graduated actually from a recovery program the year before. But you don't get your certificate until you've been another year. And I thought, and so to come along, and it's a young man that could probably be, you know, one of my kids age, and to just be an encouragement to him, you know, who's coming to the graduation, and he had family coming, and I was thankful for that. But to move on, and now to see him in another program where he'll probably get a job and move on, and Lord willing, stay, you know, straight and sober for the rest of his life. But they're really given the whole complete package, and the main piece of the puzzle or the component is the Lord. And to see the residents come in and bow their head and thank the Lord, you know, for their meal, and to see them grow while you're here from week to week. It's a blessing.
Yeah, and having volunteers and all the services and those things, like all of those things come and kind of wrap around them and support them, and so that's the amazing thing to just watch that transformation happen. If they really surrendered, it's going to happen.
Right.
So that's amazing.
Right.
And then that whole waiting piece, right now it's just waiting. So
Right.
So one last question: if you could do one thing to make an immediate impact on the state of homelessness, what would it be? Either one of you.
Ooh.
Feel free to.
Immediate's hard. You see them everywhere. And I have family that comes into town that will comment about them, and my grandchildren will see them more often than maybe where they live, and they'll comment on them. And so you just try to explain. But most of us don't live in circles where you're actually going to be involved one-on-one or exposed to a lot of them. So for me, I'm just thankful that this is, an opportunity that I have in my small way, to help those that are struggling and support, through what we do, the programs that you guys are doing through the reach out of homeless.
Well, thank you. That's a great answer.
So I shared with you in the green tent,
Yeah.
about an individual that I came upon, and the Bible teaches us that we will have the poor with us always.
Yeah.
And so wherever you see a person who's homeless or something like that. I went to the store the other day. There was a gentleman that was sitting propped up against the wall, with a dog, and I decided to go into the store and buy him a few nutritious things, and then it was the Holy Spirit once again reminded me, hey, you got these cards, from the Gospel Rescue
our
Mission.
little help cards.
A little help card.
Invitation, come on down, yeah.
And so
absolutely.
That's my intention is whenever I have an opportunity, if someone's struggling, homeless, dealing with chemical addiction, stuff like that, I'd give you guys a shout out, from a standpoint of, if you need help, if you need a place to stay, if you just want to get a warm shower and get cleaned up, the Gospel Rescue Mission, they can help you. And so my intention would be to start using those cards that have been living in my wallet, forever.
I have a bunch of them in my car. Sometimes I forget.
Now I know where to go get more.
Yeah, that's right. So, man, thank you guys so much for coming. I know it's taking the time out of your evening and not just tonight, but just your continued support of the Gospel Rescue Mission. You guys make a difference. You may think you're just serving a meal, but the reality is they see that consistency. They see you over and over. They get to know your name. You become a friendly face to them. That they know that somebody cares. And volunteers are just as important at the work that we do that as any staff members or the peers. And so man, we're incredibly blessed to have you guys, and so I'm so glad I got to interview you. And so,
I'm glad it was you, Wes.
Yeah. So it was
much
a comfortable
more comfortable
conversation, and that's what this is about. We're just trying to get the message out there and say, hey, these are the things that
we're here, and this
folks
is what
struggle
we do.
with. And so thank you for sharing the volunteers' perspective. And then we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be right back with Conversations on the Bench. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Wes.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
So I am in recovery myself. I've been homeless multiple times for various lengths of time. The longest was probably 3.5 years. Due to my addiction, I was incarcerated in jail and 2 different states in prison. I was here in Arizona. I lost custody of my daughter and due to my drug addiction, and went to prison. When I was released from prison, got back into recovery and fought for my daughter and got my peer support. And I really had no idea what I was going to do, just because having a criminal record, it's hard to get employment.
Sure.
But through becoming a peer support, it was the first time I was able to use domestic violence, my drug addiction, my incarcerations, all of the things, childhood trauma, everything to help other people.
Wow.
So,
Was that hard for you?
Yeah, I think once I figured out that there was like a way out of the desperation, I think it was encouraging, I also, being that my recovery is like 12-step based,
Sure.
part of that and part of keeping your recovery is being of service. So I had to find a purposeful life for myself, and I get to do that today.
Yes.
Get to work with people in the community that are struggling with opiate use disorder, because I work for community medical services, but I also get to work with the unhoused population and just meet people where they are. And I think because I've been there, I get to humanize it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Kind of providing that authenticity and
Definitely. It's easy for somebody who's trained in book smarts of what homelessness looks like or what the needs are of people that are unhoused, to go and say you need A, B, C, or D. But when somebody is actually coming at it from a point of having lived experience and knowing what it's like to be homeless for a length of time, people don't realize that people get accustomed to not being indoors, and it takes time to get used to being indoors. It takes time to get used to being in recovery and actually believing in yourself, So I get to, through the work I do, just believe in people and show them that like somebody really does care.
Wow.
And humanize it.
So I imagine them seeing what you've gone through and where you are now giving back, that gives them hope, do you see?
Definitely. When I was in active addiction, a part of my time I was here in Tucson, a lot of the people that I was in active addiction with are living in 100 Acre.
Okay.
And I get to today work in 100 Acre at times.
Wow.
And
Wow.
seeing somebody, I was never the person that you would see, oh, she'll go to treatment and she'll get better. That was not what people thought. And so when they see me on this side of things, they're encouraged, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about front lines, 100 acres.
Yeah.
That's a large homeless encampment, if not the largest here in Tucson.
Yeah.
There are some places there that are extremely dangerous to go. And how often are you there providing services?
With other agencies, we have been out there for, working for CMS, Community Medical Services. We go out there on a regular basis, but we had been working at a housing initiative out there for the last 90 days.
Okay.
And I was there pretty much with everyone else. We were there every day.
Every day?
I guess 4 days a week we were there. And we go out and we provide different services, and we get to ask people, what can we do for you instead of assuming, what they need.
Got it. I imagine that makes a difference when you're not there with an agenda right up front, trying to sign someone up for something or to move them into your niche. You're actually trying to meet them at their needs, which helps build that trust with them.
Definitely. I think like sometimes people we'll look at the things that we hand out and go, well, that's just a Band-Aid. But what that does is like when I bring a snack to somebody and I get down on their level and I sit down and I talk to them, maybe in their tent or in whatever dwelling they have, like I said, it makes it personable. And it also opens up a conversation. Like if it's breaking bread, I'm able to sit down with somebody and they don't pay attention to like what my company is, and from that conversation I can find out like what are the real issues, like why are you struggling? Is it because a lot of people assume that everything is about opiate use disorder or about some type of drug, but there are so many other things that affect people. Like it's such a multifaceted thing.
Everybody, completely different stage.
Oh yeah, I've met people that, had an accident at work, couldn't get unemployment, or their unemployment expired and they couldn't get another job, and they ended up in 100 Acre. I've met people that weren't on drugs until they got there.
Okay.
There's lots of stigma involved with being homeless or unhoused. There's lots of barriers that people that are in like on the other side, don't see. Like if you've been living in that community, you may not have access to an ID or a social. You need to have a birth certificate in order to get those things. Do you have the money to get the birth certificate? Luckily, we do have some agencies that are able to help people. That was part of the initiative out there, is we were helping people get their vital documents, and they need all of that for housing.
Okay. So then when you're going out there, there's often other agencies right alongside with you?
Absolutely.
Wow.
One amazing thing about Tucson is that all of the agencies that are here, I don't want to, if I name them all, it would make it, I would miss somebody. But there's, we work closely with HOPE, CBI, TPCH, Viva. We work with all kinds of people. And everybody kind of has a common goal, and that is to find the barriers that people are struggling with and fill those gaps.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. You've been going out there. Have you seen any kind of shift in the atmosphere there? Any kind of turning point? Which direction do you see things going from where we're at this point?
Yeah, I do. I mean, let's see. After being out there for 90 days, and there are lots of housing programs that have happened in the past, and people don't necessarily know, that are unhoused, don't necessarily know what they have to do in order to meet the criteria or whatever. With the way it was set up was really cool, and they were able to have a process and meet the process. And then when they would come and meet with each department, they were showing up for themselves.
Okay.
And now, a lot of them have been housed and or will be housed. That's been amazing, just watching people go from being out there to seeking medical treatment, to going to detox, to coming to a place like CMS and getting treatment, and then being able to be housed, and looking towards becoming self-sufficient and learning those skills. I think it's encouraging. We also, through CMS, we also work with women that have lost their children, and that due to substance use or a lot of times domestic violence. We find a lot of domestic violence.
Okay.
And we're able to, CMS, we have counselors, we have peer supports, we have justice liaisons, we have veterans. We're trying to, like I said, fill in the gaps and meet them where they're at.
Wow, that's awesome. So we see the whole community, all the agencies, Tucson coming together. We're addressing these problems. We're acknowledging that our community, the members that are homeless, they're our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers. They're us.
Definitely.
So I love what you're doing out there.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, is it's easy to put a label on somebody and sort of cast them aside or mark them as deficient.
Sure.
But I think that, like we were talking earlier, and I said, how do you sell hope to anybody that's hopeless, right? And I think, part of it is through lived experience and having people that have been through it, so that people can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, there's an authority, I imagine, when you're speaking to someone. You've lived that out. You've walked it. You're living proof in front of them as you're sharing with them your story and breaking bread with them, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that hope catching inside of them.
Definitely. I mean, I never intended, I think I had wanted to get off drugs, but I never really believed that I could, because I had done it for so long. I spent over 23 years of my life. I'm 48. I spent over 23 years of my life in and out of drugs and just violent situations, relationships, and I think it took me having somebody believe in me.
Sure.
And then showing me how to also be employable, teaching me that there was a such thing as peer support or lived experience, and that I could, through meeting people where they're at, help them find their way in recovery, whatever that looks like.
Yes.
Because just because CMS offers CMS offers methadone and Suboxone and Bixrodian and all the things, right? Just because we offer those doesn't mean that that's specific. We try to get people to whatever type of recovery they need, and help them along the way.
like you said, meeting them where they're at.
Yeah, because there are tons of barriers that people don't see. There are, I mean, I could go on, but like there are barriers with Medicare. There's barriers with, you know, different grants, and some specific drug specific treatment centers won't treat this or will treat that, and you know, we try to meet everybody and try and help them find their path, you know, no matter what it is. A lot of people are out on the street because they're running from probation or parole, and we have people at CMS that can help them and guide them through different court systems in Tucson. We work really closely with Transition Center. Yeah.
That's great. Well, we're certainly thankful that CMS is in the community alongside us, reaching the homeless, bringing change and hope to the least of these, those that have been forgotten, that society has turned their backs on, but society hasn't. We're out there. We're on the front lines there, and I love that I get to do that with you too. Yeah. So I'm glad that we're together here. I have one last question for you. If you could do one thing to make an immediate impact on the state of homelessness, what would it be?
God, that's so hard. There's so many. So I guess I would lower the barriers. Like I would make all types of treatment available to all. My personal, outside of my company, my personal dream is to one day have a place where women can safe surrender their whole family. Because right now, if I'm struggling, one of the barriers for women, especially through domestic violence and drug addiction, is that there is no, I can't walk in somewhere and say, with child, can I come and detox, and can I come? And so a lot of women continue to use because there isn't that family member to take their child in.
Yep.
So my dream one day is to open up a safe surrender for the whole entire family, where you could just walk in and you could do detox and long-term care and learn how to be self-sufficient.
Wow. That's a beautiful cause.
Yeah.
I love your heart.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. Conversations on a Bench. We're going to head back to another quick break, but we'll be back here very shortly. Thank you again. And thank you, Kaz.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Okay, so we're back. Conversations on a Bench. I'm Wes Shepard. I'm here with Dave Egan. Dave Egan is what I call guest services volunteer extraordinaire. And so Dave is one of our wonderful volunteers. How long have you been volunteering?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And so, you know, I asked you, I know it's kind of a surprise that I asked you to come and share, but one of the reasons was I really don't know you that well. I know you as a volunteer. I know you're consistent. I know that you're friendly, and you know what I mean, and you have that amazing ability to kind of draw people in, and you're compassionate to the folks that come to our doors, and you're a wonderful volunteer. Beyond that, I don't really know, and so this is going to be a good little journey for me to find out what makes Dave Egan tick, and why Gospel Rescue Mission, and why do you have a heart for the folks that we serve in homelessness, and so share. Feel free to share whatever it is you want to share.
Okay. I'll go all the way back to coming to Christ. I was fortunate to come to an understanding of my sin nature, and that I needed a Savior when I was 13. And so I was raised in a Christian home. But I didn't get really mentored much from that point. So I kind of went through high school, just kind of floating through high school, not really professing my faith or anything. And when I was 19, there was a revival in our town, and it ended up coming to the church I was at, and so I started going to the revival. And so at 19, I discovered the part that I missed was surrendering. And so basically just telling God, what do you want to do with my life? You know, I'm yours, so just guide me. And I got married young, and active in church all the way through. and I'll speed it up. And in 2013, friends of mine that lived in Tempe were going to start a nonprofit. They're going to start a church for college students in Tempe. And my wife and I both felt compelled to be involved in that. So I left my dream job and moved to Arizona. And so it's a roundabout way of how I ended up even knowing about this and being here. And we moved to Tucson about 3 years ago. And at the end, that was in September of 22. And the end of 22, I retired. And I told my wife I'm not going to do anything for like a couple months. I just, no alarms, just want to relax. And after a couple months, and it was like, well, you know, this isn't enough. I need to find something else. And we were in a life group, and someone in the life group, we got into a conversation about ways to serve in Tucson, and somebody mentioned the Gospel Rescue Mission and said that you could just contact them and take a tour. So within the next week, it was like, well, I need to do that, at least check it out. I'd been involved, just knew of a rescue mission in Illinois, but nothing compared to what Gospel Rescue Mission is. And so I signed up for a tour. Lucy led the tour, and I was really kind of blown away with how Gospel Rescue Mission goes about changing a person's life, introducing them to Christ, but the training they can get job training, they get to help to find a job. As I went through, I was like, this is incredible. And when the tour was over, I said to Lucy, I said, so what have you got for me? Where can I serve, and when can I start? And so the next Monday, I came into the Welcome Center, and I've been coming to the Welcome Center every Monday and Tuesday from 1 to 4 for 2.5 years now.
Awesome. The old infamous tour, right?
Yep.
So, you know, I love giving the tours of this place, you know, because it's never what people expect when they walk through the doors. You know, we're here in this iconic hotel, you know, in Tucson. It's been here, and a lot of people know this hotel. Even if they know this hotel, they still don't really understand or know what to expect when they come here. You know, we've built all these new buildings since we've been here on the campus, and all the support services and all the things that are going on. You know, it takes an hour and a half now to do a tour, to just include all the things that we do. And
it's incredible.
And that's pushing people through that, you know, processes. So, yeah, that's incredible. And then, you know, it's just different. You can't really know what's going on here until you experience it or until you see it firsthand. And then, so tell me about your experience with the folks that come in. You know, we've started a new thing called Operation Rescue, and one of those things is just inviting people to come in for a meal. And folks that may not normally come here for help are coming here for food, right? Just coming for breakfast or lunch or for a dinner. And then, you know, getting to know our volunteers and our staff, and kind of the way that we roll, you know, how we operate, what our culture is like, you know. And so talk a little bit about that, because I know you're in that front area where people come in and kind of get checked in, and we have, you know, security in that secure area. So what have you noticed that's kind of different or shifted in the last? Because we've changed that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
So when I first started volunteering here, we had food plates.
Yeah, we'd pass meals
out. And so
yes,
we just pass them out through the window.
to whoever wanted to walk up.
Yeah.
But then it was changed to where they actually can come in and get out of the heat,
Yeah.
have a meal, get to meet some people, and even meet some guests who are residents here.
Yeah.
And I think that has really helped. It's helped people that are homeless to see, hey, there's a place where you can be cared for.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the really big things. One of the things I've really enjoyed about doing the job is when people come in, they do an intake. So they come in Monday through Thursday at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they go through a process to come in, and that day their picture is taken.
Yeah.
And their picture is on their ID card that's on a lanyard.
Yeah.
And so whenever the guest leaves, they leave their lanyard at the window, and then when they come back, they get it back.
Pick up their ID.
And that's kind of
campus,
the job I help out with is taking care of those badges, clocking them in and out. But when you get to look at their intake picture, and then just a few months later, they're not recognizable to that picture.
Yeah.
They're happier, they're healthier.
They're like, we need to get you another picture because this don't look like you anymore, right?
Yeah, and that's the really cool, the really cool part about it. And then the celebrations when someone has gone through the program, they've saved some money, they have a job, they are able to get an apartment, have it furnished by the donations from the rescue mission, and they came in homeless, and they go back out into the world whole with a roof over their head and a job, and it's
isn't it amazing that their celebration becomes our celebration, right?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like because we're rooting for them. We see that change happening, and then when they come to you and like, hey, I got that job, or I got that apartment. It's just like, it's like we're celebrating with them. It's really,
and that's the other thing when they're just going for a job interview, they'll say, "Oh, I'm going for a job interview," and
I'm so nervous.
And then when they come back, we say, "So how'd the job interview go?" And encourage them if it didn't go well.
Yeah.
That's like, well, God's got a better plan than that. It might have looked good to you, but God's got something better for you. And it's just, I don't know, rewarding to be here and be part of it. The staff here is incredible. The staff that I get to work with and interact with, and being in the Welcome Center, a lot of the staff make their way in and out of the Welcome Center, so I get to see quite a few different staff people. We've got some incredible intake specialists that pray for people, love on people. It's just it's a great place.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So, if you could do one thing to make an impact today, immediate, on the state of homelessness in Tucson, tell me, what would that be?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. I think this is part of it, is just getting the word out that this is the place. If you're homeless and you don't want to be homeless anymore, because it takes some effort to come here and some effort to be here, this is the place to come and be made whole.
Yeah. So coming out past your bedtime and having a conversation with me, it might be that one thing, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, Dave, it's been a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to get to know you. We have so many volunteers, and a lot of them are just faces. You and I have had conversations, but man, every opportunity I get to talk to a volunteer, very similar story.
Yeah.
And you know, like I know that the reward is so rewarding, just being a part of
It
watching
is.
lives change, you know. And how many opportunities do we have, on the street, at the Circle K, where we run into someone where we can just kind of plant that seed, hand them the card, pray for them, whatever that thing is, that and just give a little bit of hope. Like it's not a lot of effort,
Right.
I mean, you're here a couple times a week, and you know what I mean, and you do it, make a sacrifice, to come here and spend your time here with us, but as well as I know that the reward is. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
The reward's
right?
great.
Yeah. And so thank you so much for coming in. We're going to take a little break, and then
You're welcome.
And,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Have a great day.
Good morning. Joining us on the bench now is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a director of workforce development here at Gospel Rescue Mission. Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you for being here. Good morning. We are coming upon that finish line. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Do me a favor. Let's start with this question. What is it that you do here at Gospel Rescue Mission, and how does it impact the homeless crisis in Tucson?
Yeah. So I oversee the workforce development department. Our purpose, the reason we exist, is to walk alongside people as they seek to secure full-time employment at higher paying wages. So really our role is to come alongside and be supportive as the people who are staying here with us seek to find a job, as they look for a job and whatnot. Yeah. How does it affect the people that we serve? It affects their whole future, right? Because the reason people end up here or show up here is because they don't have a home. They don't have a place to call their own. They don't have permanent housing. And any of us who work understand that in order to keep housing, we have to be able to pay for it. Yeah. And how do we pay for it? We need to have a job. So it just impacts the whole scope of their life, right? Yeah. If they're coming in here without a place to live, we walk alongside them as they work to find a job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In doing so, and actually Charles was here earlier, and he spoke about the impact of living paycheck to paycheck in his life, and just I think he got into a car accident, missed a paycheck, and that thrust him into homelessness. How often are you seeing that same or similar narrative with what you do day to day?
Yeah, it's amazing, really, if you think about it. Like, what causes homelessness? I don't know how many of you have sat down and thought about why people end up homeless, but there's such a plethora of reasons, right? We've talked a lot about, Ali was just here talking about addiction, which causes people to be homeless. There's issues with mental illness, but really it can just be a culmination of things that happen that cause someone to be homeless. So someone like me, for example, I have supportive factors in my life. Sure. I have a family that I can count on. I have sisters who have jobs. My parents have jobs. So if I fall on a hardship, I have family, I have a community to fall back on. Not everybody has those supportive factors, right? Some people end up in a car accident, right? Or they have a bad day at work and they pop off at a coworker. Next thing you know, they've lost their job, and then what? If they don't have a community around them, if they don't have the ability, the confidence to go secure another job, what are they going to do? Yeah.
So what you're saying is similarly to what Ali spoke about in addiction recovery, you're seeing some of the same need for supportive community within something like workforce development that I think people generally think, well, yeah, you're going to help them get a job, or maybe you have connections to get them jobs. But what you're saying is it's a lot deeper than that.
It is completely deeper than that. You know, the Lord created us to be in community. He never intended for any of us to do this alone. The Lord himself, it's Trinity, right? Like there is community in the Trinity. I think sometimes we forget how important the people around us are, you know? And so when people go through trauma, when people go through addiction, when families fall apart, when there's dysfunction, that community often falls apart. Sure. And the way to the way for someone to thrive, right, is to be completely transformed, to come to a place where they're safe and secure, is to develop that loving community around them. I mean,
Yeah.
how often have we heard it said it takes a village?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It does.
To raise a Bruce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And so it's a huge thing we do here. Our Chris was here talking a little bit about our ecosystem, but ultimate goal is for the people who come and stay with us to be in a new supportive community.
Yeah.
Because once you're in that supportive community, you're more resilient.
Absolutely.
You have the ability to, when life knocks you down or when there are circumstances outside of your control, if you have people around you who love you, who support you, who are for you, you're not going to end up back in this place where you're alone and unable to be resilient.
So within your department, I guess amongst the guests, how do you see community being built in that space?
Yeah. So just yesterday, actually, my manager was out, so I ran our process group. So one of the things we do in workforce development and most of the departments here is each day our guests come together and they have what's called a process group. So we spend an hour, the group of them come together and just really process whatever it is they're going through. We talk about, where are you with getting interviews? How successful have your interviews been? What job leads do you have?
So they were able to process through maybe the frustrations of
all of it,
of not doing well in an interview, or I put in 6 applications and haven't gotten a call back.
Right. And it's not just that, we're the workforce development department, but we're looking for a complete transformation. So to be honest with you, we have lots of conversations about my roommate did this, I can't handle this, or this thing in the dining hall was this. So we help them to process life because, again, that's part of building community. So I was overseeing this process group yesterday, and I don't know how we got to this point, but one of the gentlemen was sharing his opinion. He was sharing it very strongly. And someone else jumped in and was like, Tom, it's really great. You've grown a lot since you've been here. And I'm
now this is guest to guest?
Guest to guest.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I'm just kind of sitting back and they're like, when you first came in here, they were telling me, when he first came in here, he was rude, he was interrupting and whatnot. So he still has the same passion, but he's figured out a way to communicate that in a way that can be received.
Yeah.
So they're watching each other. So we were talking about that too, about the fact that some of the guests were talking about how thankful they are to be able to be here, just how amazing the staff is and all of that, which is true. But I told them, I said, look, there are 350 of you. You way outnumber the staff.
So you better be nice.
Well, what I was saying is they're really the ones who make up the community.
Absolutely.
More so than the staff.
Yeah.
It's them.
Yeah.
They are their own community. They are the ones that are growing each other. They're the ones that are really transforming each other. We talked about they were talking about, you come to this place and it is so supportive and you can feel peace here and you feel loved, and just explain to them, it's what you're giving to one another. We're not all pouring that out.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing to think about the atmosphere that is created here.
Yeah. Let's touch on that for a second. There's been a number of people that have come up here and talked about that specifically, kind of the atmosphere, and I know some of us define it as the Holy Spirit is in the place, but that doesn't always compute to everybody. What is it about the atmosphere? Why is it so important to have healthy culture, but also this atmosphere of peace, support, all those things? What is it about that sounds like maybe the hidden component or the icing on the cake, however you describe that?
Yeah, I think the way that I would describe this place here is I would really call it the kingdom of God. The Lord has talked to us about the fact that He's advancing the kingdom. And the kingdom, if we think about what that is this covering of mercy, grace, and love, right? It's this place that we can feel completely safe, completely protected, that we don't have to worry about our sin, about making mistakes, because there's grace there, there's mercy there, there's love that is always going to cover us. So when we talk about the atmosphere that's been created here, it's because this is a haven, this is an outpost of the kingdom of God. And once you come into that, you would think you have to clean up your act to be a part of the kingdom of God, or you need to come to this place where you're no longer sinning, or you need to be perfect or free from mistakes or whatever. None of that is true. You can still be you. You can still be growing. You can still be developing and transforming. You're just covered, though, by mercy, grace, and love.
Wow.
People have that patience for you. And once you come to this place where you mess up, you make a mistake, whatever, you step out of line, you pop off at somebody, when that person has grace for you, it's easy then the next time to have grace for somebody else. And it just transfers, right? And that's what I was talking to our guest about. Look, it's not the staff who's doing all this work. You guys, 3 times as many of you here as there are of us, right? But they're learning. They share that mercy, that grace, that love with one another. It creates this safe space. It bonds them together in the same way, again, that we were created to be bonded.
It's amazing.
Right?
Let's talk about maybe one of the myths. Is finding the job the ultimate solution?
No, absolutely not. So we talked to our guest about that too. It's not just about finding a job. It's about keeping a job. Because you can find a job. It doesn't really solve any problems. You have to be able to keep that job. So we spend a lot of time focusing on soft skills. Like we talk to our guests when they come in. Why'd you lose your job? What did you do? What did you do wrong? Why don't you have a job? Why haven't you been able to find one? So we identify those struggles, those hurdles, and we say, okay, what can we do to walk alongside you, to give you the soft skills, to give you those opportunities? So part of the workforce development department is our social enterprise department. We've actually just opened Opportunity Coffee and Cafe, which is so cool.
Big, huge.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity. We call it Opportunity Coffee and Cafe because the whole thing is run by our guests who have gone through the workforce development program, who have gone through an internship, and then eventually can be hired on as full-time staff. The reason that this is such an opportunity is, again, we run our entire program with mercy, grace, and love. So this is when our guests come into the internship with Opportunity Coffee and Cafe, they have the chance to develop their soft skills. So just because they have a hard day, just because they show up late to work, just because they make mistakes, they're not going to lose their job, right? They're going to have that opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop those soft skills. So we've created this work environment where they're actually safe, right? Safe to fail. And that's what it takes to be able to grow, right? Because if every time you failed, you're kicked out, shoved out, removed, you never really get a chance to grow.
Reinforces the feelings that I have about myself, which is going to make it more difficult for me to obtain my goals.
Right.
It's amazing. Share a couple of successes.
I could give you 100. I could give you 100. So right now, I'm super proud of the staff that we have at Opportunity Coffee and Cafe. We've hired cafe manager Charles. I think you spoke with him earlier in the evening. We've got 4 full-time staff right now. We've got 6 of our guests who are currently in the internship. We've got a manager in training. And it's really been amazing to watch them. The most recent transition has been the staff that we've hired, the 5 staff that we've recently hired, moved from being guests here to now being on staff. And I don't know how many of you have ever done this, but when you have to move from being a peer with someone to then being having some authority over, ooh, it's a tough one, right? It's tough for everybody involved. So over these last couple of weeks, I've watched them move through that transition. We've seen some friction. We've had some harsh words, some grumbling, but like watching people grow is absolutely phenomenal. You come to the place, like one of the staff members, I don't know, the other day did kind of pop off, stepped out of line, you know. And I saw it happen, knew it was coming, and before I had to say anything, he came to me and he's like, you know, I messed up.
Yeah.
I owe the rest of the staff an apology. I didn't do what it was I should have done.
Yeah.
And it's like thinking about, you know, it was just 8 months ago where this person came in off the streets, had been experiencing homelessness, and now has come to a place where he's self-aware, he can recognize his mistakes, and then not just that, but he's willing then to take the next necessary actions to redeem himself, you know, to come back to a place of good relationship. So it's phenomenal.
That's very incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question that others might be wondering: are they trustworthy? These are people from the streets. They're battling with drug addiction. They're homeless.
Are any of us trustworthy?
Are they
Tell
trustworthy?
me, are any of us trustworthy?
So somebody that's looking at starting a social enterprise. They're wanting to utilize the skills and abilities of guests, clients, whatever they might call them. How much trust can they put in that person to run that enterprise?
Yeah. Well, here's what I've discovered, right? Again, when people come in here, when they first get here, they've just been experiencing homelessness. It's tough to see the value, the dignity that a person has, right? We overlook it. You know, as you're driving down the street at a stoplight, whatever, you see someone who's experiencing homelessness. It's hard to see their worth. It's hard to see their value.
Yeah.
But you bring them into a place like this, you have confidence in them, you have faith in them, you give them hope, and it's amazing to see what comes out of that. And so are these people trustworthy? They absolutely are. Does it mean they're going to be perfect? Does it mean they're not going to make mistakes? No, it does.
Sure.
No, it doesn't. But as we have grace for people, as we put confidence in them, as we put trust in them, we'll see them rise to the occasion. Because that's what we all want to do, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, none of us wants to fail. None of us is going to purposefully fail, right? So Ryan, like if I know, if you say to me, Elizabeth, I need you to do this, and I believe you can do it, chances are I'm going to succeed, right? Or Elizabeth, I need you to do this, and I trust that you're going to be able to do this well. I'm going to do everything in me to meet that expectation, right?
Yeah.
And so
you found
people
the same
here, it's
thing.
the same way.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
same way. And the truth is, if I say, Ryan, I need you to do this, I don't think you can really do it.
Yeah.
What are the chances that you're going to be able to
why
do
try?
it? I can't really even trust you to do this, right?
Right. It's amazing.
We're all really the same, right?
Absolutely. So what you're saying, I think what I just heard you say, and I think other people need to hear it, there's not that much that divides us or separates us from the people we serve.
There isn't anything that divides us, that separates us from the people we serve. Maybe one thing that separates us is we're further along in this process of human development, right? You know, for me personally, my human development didn't get disrupted in the same way that some of our guests' human development did. You know, so I'm just a little bit further along in that process. Does it make me any better? No. Does it give me more tools? Yes. And then my responsibility with those tools is to use them to serve others. Is to use them to say, this is how you can restart your process of human development. This is how you can restart to get further along.
If you could, one thing that you would do immediately to impact homelessness.
Immediately. So I'm a planner, I'm a process person. So
They don't know all that part.
Thinking about immediately, what could I do to end homelessness? I think,
or just impact it.
To impact, you know, I think it was the same as what Ali said. Like, we don't realize the impact that we have on somebody just by acknowledging them. All of us have this deep need to be seen and to be known. So I think a major thing that could impact homelessness, it sounds so silly, is making eye contact, being willing to see. You know, when you take a look at someone who is experiencing homelessness, who's on the street asking for something, to acknowledge them and to realize, you know what, they are a human just like me, and that I have I have no idea what it is that they're going through. So that eye contact, that smile, right?
Yeah.
And what it'll do is it'll change something within you, and I guarantee it'll motivate you to do something more.
Yeah, yeah. And I would even elaborate on what you said a little while ago, instilling that trust in them, building their
Absolutely.
confidence, or helping them build their confidence by pointing them in the right direction and believing in them.
Yeah, right.
So that's amazing. Elizabeth, thank you for your time.
thank
It's
you
been
very
phenomenal.
much.
It was a great
Thanks for having me.
conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with
Yeah,
us.
and thanks for staying up all night and interviewing these people. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate you.
Welcome back, Tucson. Here we are, live conversation on the bench here at Gospel Rescue Mission Center of Opportunity, right here in Tucson, Arizona. And I have a very interesting interview. I'm so excited about this. So I have Everett Neese, who's with the Wellbeing Institute, who plays a huge role here at Gospel Rescue Mission. So Everett, welcome. Welcome to Conversation on the Bench.
Thank you.
And so, Everett, why don't you explain who's the Wellbeing Institute and what's your role there?
The Wellbeing Institute is an outpatient clinic that provides mental health services for the individuals within the community. My role within that company is as a therapist. My role here is to provide psychoeducational classes and to educate members about trauma and substance dependence issues. And so the class itself is really geared towards educating the guests, whether it's about trauma or substance dependence, as well as educating them on coping skills to deal with both.
Absolutely. You know, I we've not had a lot of interaction or conversation, but so I do a lot of tours with, guests that want to come take tours, businesses, VIP tours, and so a lot of those tours are in the morning, and we visit the chapel, which used to be a movie theater when it was a hotel. And so I'll come in there, and Everett's doing his thing with teaching his trauma class. And, it's so captivating, right? And so I'm there, and I'm like, okay, we need to move on to the next part of the tour. And I'm like, oh, man, I want to hear some more. I mean, it was so good. It's hard to walk out when you're doing your thing, so appreciate what you do. So what's your experience, what you do maybe off the campus versus what takes place here at Gospel Rescue Mission?
I've been in the field for over 20 years, and mostly focused by my efforts to mental health and substance dependence, specifically trauma, and trauma that occurs with individuals, so what happens to them afterwards. I believe that, in working with the members or the guests here, understanding what happened is the biggest part of the healing process. So I help facilitate a group that I hope helps them identify some of those things. Outside of here, I typically work as a therapist on an everyday basis. I've been in service of individuals for 20 years and dedicate my life to being in service to individuals. Because I don't believe there's anything more important than watching the mirror for a change in some change your lives. The impact it has not only on them, but the community, their family, is just remarkable. And it truly is the reason I do this job.
We talk about trauma. We here at Gospel Rescue Mission, we get very, I'm going to try not to feel emotional. I've been done very good this whole time. I haven't gotten emotional, but we get. Is this what they call the raw part of this event? This isn't good for TV, but get really close. These people are staying here and guess, right? I wasn't ready for this. I did not see this curveball coming. We get close every day. We drive onto this campus. We know
golly. You're walking alongside Jimmy. Just experienced this incredible, horrible experience, losing his job, losing his family, losing his career, losing time with his children, gets involved in drugs, ends up on the street, then ends up here. And for 10 to 12 months, you watch this person go from homeless to homeless, right? We just had graduation. We do it once a year. It's in October. I think we had 58 individuals that actually graduated from the program. Family drove from all over the country to see their loved ones graduate from this 12-month addiction recovery program. Most rewarding thing I've ever witnessed. So I'm going to ask you, Ever, I know people go through stages here when they're going through the addiction recovery program. Can you break that down? Because I've not lived a life of addiction at any time in my life. How are there stages that this individual goes through?
Well, I think everyone's different. Everyone's journey is different in recovery. And where they begin is you see that the soul of what happened to them every day. What traumas have occurred to them that get them in that spot. Obviously, they were not 5 years old on the elementary school playground going, I want to be homeless, I want to be a drug addict, and I got, be something at mental health. They want to be firemen, they want to be astronauts. And so kind of understanding life, also parcels that we create the space and the opportunity for them to discover what happened to them to get them here.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the beginning of that healing process. Sure. So you talk about from a hopeless to the wholeness, right? The whole journey is that healing process. And everyone's healing is going to be different, and they're all going to have different stages. But the beautiful thing is that
we're here to walk along with them in that process,
Sure. Yeah.
to support them, to be able to give them the opportunities to change. And sometimes it takes multiple opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's why we continue to welcome everyone back, because you never know when the miracle is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? You never know when that light bulb is going to pop.
Right.
And so when understanding when that light bulb hits,
Yeah.
we can just get out of the way.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And so just understanding everyone's going to be different. So, but everyone's healing is different, and being able to support them through that healing, walk with them through the healing, it is paramount to the change process and to becoming that wholeness that you spoke of.
Yeah.
And I think that, that's my dedication to this field.
Yeah.
Is seeing those miracles happen, because I know for a fact it can.
Yeah.
Right. And whether it happens today or tomorrow, we want to make sure that we give them the best opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And understand that something happened to them to get them here.
Yeah.
So what happened? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you can take someone, you can make someone, not do drugs for a day.
Sure.
Be stable for a day.
Right.
Give them a house for a day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make them better. Right? And so if we don't start helping them heal, they'll continue to burn down their house over and over and over again until we're able to figure out the cause of them burning down that house. And I think that, not only trauma, but just the community itself provides that space to do so.
Yeah.
And they have to be, understanding that, it may not happen the first time, it may not happen the second time.
Sure.
And I tell everyone, man, we all have another relapse in us.
Yeah.
Do we have another recovery? Some people don't make it back. So that's the reality. And so that's the challenges that we overcome in this program, is understanding that, they can go out again, but we don't know if they're coming back.
That's tough.
So let's provide every opportunity for them to change in every space and every nook and cranny that we can do to help them change their lives. Because we're not only helping them, we're helping everyone around them.
Yeah.
We're helping the community around them.
Yeah.
And so understanding that's the biggest piece, is I'm not helping one, I'm helping 20.
Yeah.
And so all that multiplies, right?
Right.
And then they take that healing and they help heal someone else. And they give back, and they give back, and they give back. And that's what's really all about, that domino effect of help and the domino effect of being a service.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? You go in that class, you can't walk out. You're just drawn to what's he going to say next? I've said many times, I feel like I'm in recovery here. I don't know from what, probably recovery from myself, but it's been a life-changing experience. And you talked about how many more recoveries do they have in them? They may walk out, but are they going to be able to make it back?
Right.
And I've witnessed in my 3 years here on this campus, I've seen people leave, and I've seen them come back. They needed another go-round.
Sure.
And we've had individuals come here, as you know, because you've seen them, 3 and 4 times have left and come back. Thank God they had another round in them, right?
Right.
So what takes place when you're there in that moment? Are you trying to, in the class, in the recovery class, is it to get them to speak out loud? Is it to get them to talk about the trauma in their life, or are you trying to pull something out of them?
Well, I think that the biggest part is the journey of anyone is being able to turn around and take a look at their trauma.
Yeah.
The issues that you've avoided, denied, used drugs to numb.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to turn around, whether you do it quietly, whether you do it with another person, whether you do it in class, it doesn't matter how you do it. It matters if you do it. And being willing to take that and have that courage to understand, like, if I don't, I'm going to repeat the same cycle. Because everyone has the same cycle. Everyone will go out and be like, I've got it. I can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I can't do it. I'm in trouble. And then I burn down my house and I come back again.
Yeah.
And so just understanding that it takes a lot of courage to address the issues that you've ran from all these years. And for the most part, you've used drugs and alcohol for.
Right.
And so understanding that it's not about how they do it, it's that they do it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest piece for me, is understanding and providing them that space and all the information. And to be honest, I throw the kitchen sink at them. I give them everything I possibly know, right? Hoping that they pick up a few things that they can then use to change their lives.
Yeah.
And be willing to turn around and take a look at what happened in their lives that caused them to be here. Because I promise you, they did not expect this when they were 5 years old.
Yeah.
They did not ask for this. Something happened to them. Some traumas occurred. How can we address these traumas? Because in that piece of trauma is where the real work is, because that helps us change everything else.
Yeah.
If I can heal from the trauma and start to really like and love myself, I would never poison myself.
Wow.
Imagine the person you love the most. You're not going to feed them drugs and alcohol like you took, right? But we'll do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
So understand, how do we get to the point where we can have them love themselves? Because if I love myself, I wouldn't poison myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put myself in danger. I would take my medication if I needed to. I would make sure I show up at church. I would make sure I did all these things.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And so just understanding, like, if we can provide that healing process and they start to really like themselves and they start to really love themselves, once they start to love themselves, they'll never poison themselves.
Right.
No different than they would poison their kid,
Yeah.
poison their parent, or whomever. And so I think that this providing this space and providing this, the starting point, it's like either one day or day one, right? This being our day one, understanding that that's where the real change begins. And it takes a lot of courage and being uncomfortable. And I tell all the clients, there's a pain of progress and there's a pain of regression. Pick your pain.
Wow.
You're already comfortable with this pain, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not painful. It hurts to be homeless.
Yeah.
It hurts to be dope sick. It hurts to be drunk and hungover. It hurts to have mental health issues and be taken to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? Just because I'm used to it doesn't mean it's not painful.
Right.
And then there's a pain of progress, so it's unknown, uncomfortable, fearful, right?
Yeah.
And so just understanding, like, do I have the courage to take that one more step forward? And it's not always about a jump. You can take a little baby step.
Yeah.
And that little baby step makes the difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. We talk a lot about community here, and putting them back into good community. What's going to happen when they leave here? Because we've now kind of reorganized what happens when they leave here.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep our arms around them for 60 months.
Sure.
That's a long time. That's 5 years. You're going to know this better than me, and maybe you can answer this, but we know that if we can get them 60 months, 5 years down the road,
Mm-hmm.
drug-free, without using whatever that is, their chances, and I don't know what that number is, but I do know that their chances of staying drug-free greatly shoot up, right?
Yeah. I think the longer you keep someone in treatment or stay connected with them and develop a community, the longer they're going to have an opportunity to stay sober if that's what they choose.
Yeah.
And I think that support network, as you talked about, right, is developing that web of support, not just one person.
Yeah.
You have a whole community
Yeah.
that cares for you, a whole community that helps you stay accountable, a whole community that helps you stay responsible, and understand, like, that's the biggest part, right?
Yeah.
Is being able to stay connected and feel part of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I'm doing it for
Absolutely.
someone else as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being to support someone else. So someone else that comes in day one, I'm there recognizing I've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm there to help pick him up. It reminds me and it helps me stay humble. It reminds me where I came from. That's essential to any change effort.
Yeah.
Understanding where we came from and staying humble enough to recognize we can go right back there with one yes and two no's.
Absolutely.
And so, absolutely, I think that as you expand a program that provides community support for 5 years or whatever it looks like, is just give them the greatest opportunity to change, and not
Absolutely.
only change, but be part of something that then influences others around them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, transformation housing, what we're trying to get into, moving forward, is to give them a soft landing right when they get out, instead of just saying, give them a hug and push them back out on the street, good luck, is to keep them around that safe community as long as we can. We have we've got a transformation house for men. I think that'll hold about 15. We're working on one for the women now. So, but they can stay in that community, right, for a little bit longer, give them that little soft ease back out into the street.
Yeah.
And, instead of just throwing them to the wolves, so to speak. But we always want them to know that this community is here. They can always come back. They can always engage in the services that we provide, right? And they're dealing with a lot. They've been here. They've been in a safe, strong, loving community. And now they're graduating 12 months later, and they went through workforce training. They went through our housing program. Now they got a place to live. Now I got to go put it to work.
Right.
And I imagine that's when the little voices can come back in their head and try to tear them down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is one of the biggest reasons for relapse is failure to stay connected, and then we lose the structure that kept us sober and kept us in that path of healing. We revert to old behaviors, and I think that us staying connected increases our ability to remain on that path of healing, and what that would look like is continuing to be engaged and to be of service and to do the things that help the community, to give back, are all things that help us stay connected. And I think staying connected is essential to a healing process, because we want to have a healthy community. Yeah. Because we had a unhealthy community before we got here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so developing those relationships and understanding that, a lot of times nothing happens without a relationship.
Sure.
So my relationship with you guys, my relationship with some of the guests, keeps us coming back, keeps us connected.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I might ask about the Wellbeing Institute, I know there's the mental illness side of it. I'm kind of getting honing down a little bit more, which I don't have a lot of understanding or background in, by God knows that's the truth. But so do you see, is there a different correlation between the drug addiction and the mental illness? I'm assuming we have folks that are coming in here, they're struggling with mental illness, maybe not necessarily, that doesn't involve the use of drugs. Is that common?
It's common within the community. This facility specifically, GRM definitely welcomes a lot of individuals that have both, which would be a co-occurring disorder. I have both substance dependence and mental health. I think that there's a lot of issues or undiagnosed mental health issues that we don't recognize when they first get here that are there. Whether it's trauma issues, depression, anxiety, sometimes we may not have the insight to know what that is.
Sure.
I may have PTSD and not know what that means, nor I just have the symptoms of it, right?
Yeah.
Like I like to isolate.
Yeah.
I like to overeat. I like to whatever.
Yeah.
And understanding like this platform or this space gives us opportunity to discover those things and kind of address them as we come along.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know when our guests arrive here, especially if they're arriving for the 12-month addiction recovery program,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a couple things we want them to do, right? We want them to go to El Rio, get some blood work done, and, you know, because healthcare is important. They need that too. They come here off the street, and they lived a very unhealthy life. They're sleeping under the stars, on the street, on rocks, whatever the case is. You know, we need them to have blood work done. We want them to get their dental work done, and then we want them to go into the Wellbeing Institute with you folks and get a mental evaluation.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's entailed in that mental evaluation, because we want to make sure, first of all, someone might need more care, more services than we can provide at that time. And I don't know, you know, where that cutoff is or where that line is, but
that assessment's done by one of our doctors. They assess for the spectrum of mental health issues to make sure that they're able to be treated, and then the acuity or the intensity of those symptoms. And I think that if the space is not a good space, let me rephrase that. If we're not a good space right now, then we're definitely going to make recommendations for a different level of care. And I think that's important to recognize. Like, there's a whole system of levels of care. We might not be the right spot for them right now.
Yeah, and that's important. I want our viewers to know that, hey, like you just said, we may not be the spot for them right now. We're not going to just throw somebody back out on the street. If we don't have the resource to deal with their issue right now, we're gonna find a place where they can at least offer that, where they can get that help. So, Everett, as we close this session of Conversation on the Bench, I want to ask you one question.
Okay.
So, if you could do one thing to make an immediate impact on the state of homelessness, what would that be?
It's a good question. Immediate impact.
It's a deep one.
I think that I would continue to grow programs like this to be able to give individuals opportunities to get off the streets and begin the healing process.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough of these types of environments in the community, because if there were, I think you'd have a big change and a big shift in the focus of homelessness, but also a big shift in of how many people are on the street. I mean, you know, there's only, you know, we fill up to capacity and that's it.
Yeah.
So if I was going to say immediate, I would ask for more sites like Gospel Rescue Mission to provide those services.
And we've been at capacity now for several months. I mean, 360, 370, 76 beds, where that wasn't the case a few months ago, but now we are, right? And, you know, I appreciate that. So, you know, at the end of the day, we're here and we're trying to grow and create more beds and more services. And I appreciate you, Everett, taking your time to be here, away from your family, away from home, and being here under the stars tonight for Conversation on the Bench. And appreciate it. And I'll see you back on the other side of the street next week.
All right.
Thank you very much. Stay tuned. We have more live guests coming to Conversation on the Bench coming right up. You're going to watch some more footage of what goes on the inside at Gospel Rescue Mission right here. And we'll be right back in a few minutes. Thank you very much. Thanks, Everett. Appreciate it.